Hey kids, it's me, your favorite and totally biological demon mom. If you're a returning viewer, then welcome back my fellow demon friend. And if you're new here, well,
welcome to.
I make videos with no schedule, I stream sometimes, and once in a blue moon, I've been known to create art. If you like what you see, feel free to join our demon army. If you don't, well, no harm done. We can't all have healthy relationships with our mothers. You can find my social media and links to what I do here, and here. Thanks for spending time with me today, and let's start the video. So the disclaimer here is that the situation that we're talking about today covers an artist by the name of SashaKawaii, who is a black artist whose art was stolen by Cartoon Network and directly traced, which has been proven on Twitter at this point, plus my additional comparisons and some evidence I found while digging around a bit on the internet. The disclaimer is here because it's important you get Sasha's side of things with her video she posted, and you hear directly from her experience of the situation. My goal with this video is to uplift Sasha and show my support of her with it, not to talk over her and her experiences. That's really important that I get that point across. So please, if you can and you're interested, go check out her video and her Twitter post about the situation. Now let's talk about and discuss the concept of stealing designs. If you're sighing out loud to yourself and saying,
"Fuck me, I'd rather eat my own foot than listen to mom talk about art concepts again,"
then you can skip to the next timestamp. They're in the description box for that exact purpose. Now, it is possible that you can technically steal a concept or design, especially if it's a generic one. You can check out my Freckled Hobo video. I go into a little bit more detail discussing the concept of original characters and discussing the concept of stealing a character design, especially when it's big corp versus small or content creator. Regardless of inspiration of a character concept or design, once you trace another artist's work, you lose all credibility. You lose the base argument of, was this stolen? Was this inspired? Was this influenced by this person? Or was it directly copied? And once you trace something, whether it's big corp to small artist or small artist to big corp, and I use the term small artist liberally, you lose your credibility. Now, stealing a character design or concept is one thing, like if someone did a Fusion Sona or Gem Sona design, and that specific and detailed design was seen in an episode of Steven Universe, that alone would be probably really shitty, and it might involve a little bit of legal work for the artist to say, hey, I understand that you own these characters, you own these gem people, but you directly copied my design. It would probably take a little bit of legal work for the artist to get their artwork copyrighted, or to get Cartoon Network to at least like credit them in like the credits of an episode or on social media, but it would probably just be written off as credited inspiration. But directly tracing is, in my opinion, the lowest level of corporate greed I can imagine in this like sphere of artists. Cartoon Network has some of like the best storyboarders and animators and character designers in modern animation media, and you couldn't just take the time to do something original. How I found out about this situation is I was actually on Twitter, saw Cartoon Network's post first, and I was looking in the comments and I saw everyone saying stuff about stealing this, stealing that, you stole this character, are you gonna credit this artist for stealing their character for tracing their design? I was like, whoa, hold on. And you know me, if I have the opportunity to drag a major corporation, then I will. So here is Cartoon Network's initial post. And before anyone, like I've seen a little bit on Twitter, say that Sasha is doing this for attention or clout, please examine this overlay of how everything directly matches up. I'm gonna go into it a little bit. about how this is definitely a direct trace, but also in general, if you are an artist or you kind of know a little bit about art and the flow of anatomy and things, you kind of get an eye when you can tell something is off, you know what I mean? The way that Sasha's art kind of flows together in proportions and the anatomy and the style, you can tell that Cartoon Network is tracing, and the way it kind of looks off. It reminds me a lot about the artist who shall not be named. It reminds me of that trace drawing he did, where you can kind of just tell that something is a little bit off with it. Like, even not comparing the overlay and comparing these two side by side, you can tell which one has a little bit of a flow of anatomy with the pose and the style and which one does not. So I put my little investigation hat on. I wanted to go a little bit deeper with this and really look back on the style of Steven Universe and SashaKawaii's style. Now, just looking straight on, they're very similar. The color scheme, the designs, the proportions, coloring, light, everything is very similar. But if you look closely at specifically the eyes and the ears, you can tell the difference. Let's start with a more subtle one, which is the ears. I looked back through a couple of episodes, even more recently with the Steven Universe movie. The ears don't have details. They are just round circles. Now compare this to Sasha's work, where Sasha, as a design choice, adds ear anatomy. Then let's look at the iconic star eyes that Steven, and then here you can see that Garnet has them as well, has throughout the show. Now these eye designs are not the same. There's no lighting reflection on the original Steven Universe star eyes, and you know what, you could argue, sure, this is just for animation purposes because they don't have time for details like that because of how many frames and animations they have to chug out per episode, especially when working on the movie. But when you look at the official Cartoon Network movie poster, and if you look at the official Cartoon Network art for the show, there's no ear detail or highlight like there is in Sasha's work. For them to have this design means that it's not the original Steven Universe design, it's Sasha's. Now to me, that is unequivocal proof that it is a direct trace. Now I didn't know anything about this artist until I saw this situation, but you can tell from their interactions they're a decently kind individual who, phone shut up, who just wants people to know the truth of how, regardless of popularity, are treated by big corps. I once again think you should definitely check out her video because her insight and her point of view is really important on this matter. She also said in her video there's going to be another video on her part. She's going to make a part 2 because Cartoon Network did apparently reach out to her. So I highly recommend you check her out, subscribe to her, and keep notifications on for her update. This is most likely going to be the first and only video I will be making on this situation. Now, Cartoon Network did credit her and say that it was inspired, which is a lie. They didn't credit her for literally tracing and stealing her art, they stole it. So inspiration is kind of a slap to the face, honestly. And, you know, like I say in every video, my 2 major rules: do your own research and make your own conclusions or form your own opinions. But we also have to acknowledge that this is not the first time that a major corporation, a major cartoon studio, a major animation studio has stolen art. Nickelodeon has also been accused of doing this. Disney has been accused of this as well. So these are my thoughts on the situation. Listen, Cartoon Network people who aren't watching my videos, you're a major corporation. Be better. If you are getting to the point where your creators, your people that are your employees are so overworked and so stressed out that they have to resort to stealing art to make deadlines, then you have a lot of problems in your corporation, how you run your business, that you need to reflect on. And if that wasn't the situation, the person who was in charge of doing this tweet, of making this Halloween post, just got that lazy, then that is also another issue you need to fix in your corporation. You need to be better. You need to have some better form of quality control. This also, and sorry for the really way far off comparison to the situation. But to me, this is the same line as everyone's responses to SashaKawaii are kind of similar to the bigger and more popularized reactions to the Scarlett Johansson and Disney debacle. Some people were telling SashaKawaii on Twitter to kind of get over it and stop overreacting and stop looking for attention. If I have evidence of that, I don't know if those tweets still exist, but if they do, I'll put them here. If they don't, sorry, just take my word for it. But they were telling SashaKawaii to kind of get over it, you know, really in the defense of Cartoon Network. And that reminds me a lot of how people were treating Scarlett Johansson. And I'm not trying to compare SashaKawaii and Scarlett Johansson, but it reminds me of the way that people were saying, hey, you're already successful because Scarlett Johansson is an A-list celebrity at this point, and SashaKawaii has a pretty decent following on social media. It's basically that argument of, you're not at the absolute bottom and struggling, you're doing well, so why should we have any sympathy for people who are doing better than us? Or help you against this large corporation that's really rooted in my enjoyment and personality, aka Disney and Cartoon Network. You know what I mean? But it is important for celebrities and artists with a platform to speak up about stuff like this, because, I mean, it's not okay, and it shouldn't be swept under the rug like some people are trying to. SashaKawaii has the platform to speak up and talk about her experience due to her following, but I bet if this happened to someone with little social media activity and no following, no community, someone who only posted their art and didn't really form a community off of it, then it would most likely get buried, or Cartoon Network would have found a way to get their accounts deleted or something, because it would have been less hassle for them that way. So some people need to understand that Disney and Cartoon Network, at the end of the day, even though you get enjoyment from them and they might be rooted into your childhood or your personality in some way, they're corporations, they're businesses, and they mainly, if not solely, care about your money. They don't really care about you as a person, and sometimes it's necessary to stand up to them, especially when they've done wrong, because it's necessary to speak up against the wrong they do, and it needs to be talked about. People often get really defensive of big corporations because they think it takes away from their experience or their enjoyment. They think it affects them in some way to defend these big corporations. It's like, we're making a lot of comparisons in this video today, but it's very much like people who defend billionaires, because they think that if they defend billionaires, it helps them feel a little bit better about the idea of them one day becoming a billionaire. I'm sorry to say that all the people that have Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, and Disney's dicks swishing around in their mouth like mouthwash, they don't know who you are, they probably never will know who you are, and they don't care about you because they're a business. Anyway, that's it for today. This situation actually went very quickly with the way it happened in a very short amount of time. Usually these things take a while, but it kind of went boom, boom, boom. Cartoon Network traced it, SashaKawaii caught it, Cartoon Network said they were inspired by, and that's it. And now we just kind of have to wait and see what SashaKawaii says about the situation. I probably won't be making any videos having to do with that, because what happened with this situation was more public and on Twitter, and I feel like it would be too repetitive if I go back and I make a commentary video about SashaKawaii's second video talking about her experience with Cartoon Network. So that is going to be it for today. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for everyone who suggested I go ahead and make a Patreon where I do a podcast on there and then post highlights to YouTube. I am working on getting different really, really cool, fun guests for it. I've got some other stuff going on in the background, and I am really excited to share it with you in the future. I might have mentioned it before, but I'm currently in the process of moving, so that's why uploads are not very organized, and that's why I'm kind of all over the place lately. But thank you for being patient with me, and thank you for your support, and I love you guys. And I'll see you again next time. Bye! Bye 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 bye. Bye.
Hey now.
It's Garnet from Steven Universe!
Kids, don't steal it.